What's up? What's up? This is the ChoppedByT podcast where we get real, raw, authentic conversations. I'm your host, T. And to the right of me, we have Tiffany.
Tiffany, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm doing okay. Today's been a good day.
That's good.
The weekend has been good. And that's a change of pace for me because things aren't good all the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially as of late in my life, bringing my mother down here. You know, things like that. All the listeners know that anyway, but it's not always great for me. But it's been great. Mm-hmm. You know, I got a chance to enjoy my family or my friends. So that's a good thing. How you feeling?
I'm good. No complaints.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Is that true, though?
Yeah, because things could always be better, like you say, but it's the way you look at it. If you are appreciative of what you have, then you stay focused on that. You can't complain.
Yeah.
Because it could always be worse.
Right. It's like a perception is reality type thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you say you feel, you actually feel.
Yep.
Yeah. I tried to change that. I had a guy to come on the show. He talked about, he did like 5 years in prison. Mm-hmm. So he was saying that, he changed his perspective from, why am I here to what reason was my purpose for being here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he said that kind of changed the way time passed in prison for him. Mm-hmm. So you said you social work. That's what you do? Mm-hmm. So you work with kids and everything. So you kind of like, you be in people's business for real.
Don't start. No, not that kind of social worker with the clipboard or trying to take your kids away. Yeah. And that's the common misconception of social work in the Black community is that you're coming to take my kids like CPS. First of all, we're not going to come take your kids without a probable cause. So let's start there. Right. So yeah, I'm a social worker, but I work mainly with kids that are developmentally delayed or they have autism. So I kind of teach them sign language, coach the parent on how to even work with them, especially the Black parents. I love all of my caseload is Black parents or Arabic. I also work with Hispanic, Arabic families. We use a translator app type thing to talk to them back and forth.
Okay. So, okay. Nah, that's dope. I want to get into your story though, because you got a unique story. All of us have unique stories, right? But I want to get into your story. You were born and raised in Jackson, Tennessee?
No, I was born in Jackson, but I grew up mainly in Grand Junction till 4th grade. Yeah. And then my mom got married. Okay. And then the journey of Jackson started.
What part of Jackson you from?
I would say, I don't know. Yeah. Not east, sort of east.
Okay. East-ish?
Not really.
Okay. I got you. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about y'all East Jackson folks, man. I'm going to tell you something.
You trying to get jumped?
No, I don't want no problems. Actually, I don't want no problems at all. So
okay, I can't tell.
No, but how was growing up in Jackson? What was that like?
It was okay for me. Yeah. I never really, I'm a stay in your ground type of person. Yeah. I don't go looking for trouble, but I'm the type of person like you gonna get it if you ask me for it.
So you got them hands.
We're grown now. So I just know I was being led by my trauma. Yeah. And my trauma response is to fight. Yeah. So anytime, any small inconvenience, what's up? You want to fight? But now that I'm older, I realize, again, my trauma response, it's not until you learn that about yourself. It's like, okay, I now have to like start to talk more and communicate more. And again, I wasn't taught that. Yeah. So it's like having to raise yourself all over again. Basically.
Yeah, because our parents, they don't have the tools to understand that, right? And sometimes they're the reason why we go through a lot.
They lack the emotional intelligence to know what they're even feeling to be able to describe it to us so we can get through it.
Exactly.
If you never go through it, how can you help me through my struggle?
Yeah, for sure. So what trauma, what did you deal with early on in life that kind of made you, I guess, more aggressive in that way? Or choose fighting?
Well, I think I was really angry because my dad was away. He did 20 years in the feds. So that made me very angry because I didn't understand like why or what. Yeah. And then me and my mom weren't on the best terms always, still probably to this day. And that's a lot of things that aren't talked about. Yeah. Because a lot of people go through things with their parents and it's kind of like they grow past them because growth is a choice. And if a person chooses to stay where they are, then, that's just where they are. I can't really control that. But as far as like being angry, my dad was gone. Me and my mom weren't, she took care of me. I had the clothes, the shoes, everything I ever wanted except for that emotional support. And that's kind of where my dad stepped in.
Yeah.
Where he was away, but I was with another parent. So it was a never ending, like, what is this?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. And you need that stability of a father. You didn't have a stepfather, no?
Yes. But that wasn't an ideal step parent.
Gotcha.
He was a lot. Not so much as abusive or any like dark stuff like that, but like I just wasn't going, because as a kid I always knew right is right and wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're 80 and you're talking to a 10-year-old. If the 10-year-old's right, they're making sense. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
For sure.
So growing up in that type of situation with my stepdad, I wasn't going. To sum it up, I wasn't going. Like, if you want to come at me, then cool, we can go toe to toe. So I was probably 9 years old fighting a grown man,
swinging at him,
putting him up with him, and he was fairly short, so he wasn't like a full grown man.
Oh my God, look at you! That's a shot.
Slightly, it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. So that kind of was like middle school, high school type thing. My mom was working really hard. He wasn't working. Ended up getting put out of our house. And then that's when I thought I was grown. Yeah. So I started staying with my kids, my daughter's dad. And then that's kind of where life.
In middle school?
High school.
High school. Oh, okay. Okay.
So I thought I was grown. My mom and them moved back to Grand Junction. But at this time, I had like a car. I had a job. I begged them folks for their job. So I was like, girl, I'm not going. My sisters, they got child support. Yeah. So it's like, they didn't care. Yeah. It's like, girl, I'm not starting my life over, which that's probably one of my biggest things. I wish I could go back and choose a different route. As far as like that decision where I'm thinking I'm grown. Like, okay, mama, you don't know what you're talking about, because again, we were never that close. Yeah. So I never really trusted her to guide me outside of her own interests. Right. So because of that, I was like, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm staying with my man. Yeah.
What grade? How old were you at this time? Maybe 16, 17?
Yeah. 16, about to turn 17.
And you still going to school in Jackson, right? Yeah. Shit. You just living the life.
Yeah. I still stayed up here, and then my mom moved back. We kind of were never really that tight. Like, I love her. She's my mom, love her to death. Yeah. But a lot of the things that she does, I don't really believe in, and I don't really mess with, and that's okay, because she is who she is. Right. I've stopped superheroing my parents. Like, I stopped giving them that cape of, okay, you'll do no wrong. Yeah. No, they're human. They are. And I even let my kids know that, like, hey, mommy is human. I am gonna mess up. I'm never gonna do everything right. Sure. But I have that floor open for them to come to me. I want you to come to me. I want you to, in a store, check me. Yeah. If I did something that I hold you to that standard and I'm not being held to that same standard, it's even. Yeah. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. What can mommy do better to be better?
Yeah. I think we make that mistake with our children. It's like we don't give them a voice in that way. It's like stay in a child's place. It's like, what about them being like humans, Yeah. Yeah. So you stand in Jackson, you with your boyfriend at this moment, or it's your first baby's dad, right? You living with him in the moment. How is that? What is that experience like?
It was good. His mom absolutely hated me.
Wow.
She hated my stinking guts. But I don't think it was a personal thing. I think it had a lot to do with her more so than me, personally.
But you were staying in the house with her though, right?
Yeah, but we hardly ever came in contact, because I was in school and I was working. So I was hardly ever really there. Yeah. Like, because I was going to school during the day, and then I was working at the little restaurant after that. Yeah. So we came and go, but it was never really like.
Yeah, I'm surprised she let you stay.
He begged her.
Yeah.
Yep, he loved me a lot. And I loved him too. Like, the love was always there. Yeah. And it was a part of like my destiny, I guess. So I wouldn't change any of it, because I am who I am. Because of those stupid decisions that I made.
Yeah. Was that stupid though? You don't think you would have been in a more toxic situation being back with your mother?
It definitely was tit for tat.
Yeah, gotcha. So either way,
it was definitely tit for tat. And then you have my dad over here wanting to help, but obviously he's limited to his resources. So,
what did he say about this? He didn't even know, probably.
He's always preachy, but it's like you're preachy to me, but. Knock it out. Who's there?
For sure.
Like, thank you for trying to guide me, but obviously you didn't guide yourself where you should have been, So it's just that never-ending battle of right is right and wrong is wrong. Like, I'm okay with you calling me out on my wrong as long as you're owning your wrong.
Yeah.
Don't hold the mirror up to me if you're not prepared to look at it as well.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's kind of my stance on it. So I care what he said, but at the same time I didn't.
Yeah, it's like because he's doing it from a jail cell, unfortunately.
Jail call.
Yeah, jail call. Yeah. That's tough. That's why I never wanted to be locked up. But okay, and you said you had siblings. Let me ask you about that because I want to get back to like your time because I want to keep the timeline. But you have siblings. Okay. How many siblings you have?
Yes, I have 2 sisters on my dad's side and then 4 sisters on my 2 on my mom's side, 4 on my dad's side.
On your dad's side. Y'all all get along?
Yeah.
I got you. Have siblings. I know how it go.
Yeah. The only one that I'm really close to right now is my sister, my youngest sister on my mom's side.
Yeah.
Everybody else were cool, but it's just like they are who they are, and I am who I am.
Yeah.
So I can't expect for them to know the things that I know because it took me a very long time to get to where I am, and a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, to be able to understand what I know. So it's like I can't wait for them to get where I am. Yeah. I don't have the time.
Are you the oldest of all of them?
On my mom's side, yeah. But not on my dad. On my dad's side, I'm right in the middle.
Yeah. It makes sense, the dynamic between you and your mother, seeing that you're the oldest. Because normally it's the oldest that kind of go through that, especially when it's a woman and her daughter,
I was the other parent.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah. And them downplaying that role is crazy to me. Yeah. It's like I had to take care of them. I couldn't play like the regular kids because they get hurt. I'm getting a whooping. Mm-hmm. What I'm getting a whooping for? Like, what did I do?
You should have. Yeah.
And we're stair step, like we're 5th, 6th, 7th grade, like 1, 2, 3. So it was like I'm not that much older than them.
Yeah.
So that's a never ending struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle of the older sister, or the older sibling.
And then protecting the younger siblings for them to grow up and side with mom. And it's like, okay. Yeah. Hopefully one day you'll see it and I can say my youngest sister on my mom's side sees it. Yeah. And she's like, dang. Yeah. It's like one of those things like, thank you for protecting me. Thank you for taking those lashings and those whoopings for me because you knew it wasn't right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also, I hate that too because, me, I have my own story, right? Or everybody has their own story. And I'll say things sometimes. And like my older siblings, because I'm the youngest. Say, well, that didn't happen. You didn't this. You didn't that. It's like, oh, okay, so I just made this up. Yeah. Or you ended. But luckily for me, I have like friends and other like younger cousins around who will be like, yeah, no, that happened. I was there. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine what you go through, seeing as the people that you done it for, kind of like discredit, the work you did or the sacrifices you had to make.
For sure.
Yeah.
Being
like
the oldest.
Yeah.
That was my only claim to fame.
Gotcha. So, okay, you living with your boyfriend at the time, right? And how is everything? Are you going back and forth to work? And this is like what, 10th grade or something like that?
11th grade.
11th grade. Okay. So you staying with him in 11th
12th grade. Yeah.
Okay, so like your last year. So you staying with him and everything. You said it was a toxic situation. How so?
Not so much as toxic as our relationship because we really loved each other. Yeah. It was very much puppy love, like walking around the neighborhood holding hands, like, oh, I love you, that type of thing. And at the time, I wasn't even having sex with anybody. Like my first time having sex, and I got pregnant like a few months after that. Yeah. Type thing where I waited a long time and then life hit, and it was like. Boop, 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 boop. Everything started happening. So, again, it's like one of those things where I think back to that phone call with my mama, like, dang, should I have just went back? But what am I going back to?
Right.
Like, what's there for me?
So, your first time having sex was with him, right?
Yep.
Yep. And then you got pregnant. Was this around what age?
I was 17.
17? Gotcha. So a few months later, you got pregnant at 17?
I did.
Yeah. How was that, though?
We were actually in the middle of breaking up. So when I found out I got pregnant, we had gotten into a real bad argument. Like, it was real bad.
Yeah.
It was real bad. Like, the police got called, not because of us. It was because of some other stuff. Yeah. But the police ended up coming. It was just a whole bunch of, like, mess. Yeah. So I ended up moving back to Grand Junction.
While you were pregnant?
I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And he begged me. He was like, please keep our daughter. Please keep her. And I was like, what do you talk about? Like, we done. You know, you said you don't want to be with me. And I remember him saying, like, you're going to need her. Yeah. Like, that sentence still runs through my head. You're going to need her. You're going to need her. And I'm like, boy, you know, whatever. You know, who cares about what you're talking about? So we do later on get back together, and I moved back to Jackson after that.
Was it like during the pregnancy or post-pregnancy when you moved back?
I want to say, like, majority of the pregnancy I was in Grand Junction, and he was in and out, and I was back and forth. Yeah. So after I had the baby, I did officially go back to Jackson, because he wanted to be around her.
And at that moment, you back him and his mom, right?
We actually went to grandma's house.
Oh, grandma.
Yeah,
grandma's a little better, right?
Yeah, I love grandma. Yeah, she's real straight to the point. I needed her when I didn't know I needed her, because again, my support system is non-existent. You know, like, I got one, but not really. So she really gave me hard love that I needed. Like, I remember her saying one day he got fresh and left the house, and she told me, come here. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And she told me, you see him getting dressed, getting fly, you know what he doing. Yeah. You focus on yourself and that baby.
Look at that.
You know, and I'm like, girl,
Grandma was kind of hating a little bit.
Nah, grandma was putting me up on game, because grandma used to beat me. Let's talk about it.
For sure.
Let's talk about the cycles.
Yeah.
You know? So she would literally have to come pry my baby out my arms, because I was like, no, I'm doing it all by myself. You know, I got this. She would literally have to come, like, yank her from me. And it's just things that she said to me, and the life that she's spoken to me. Like, my kids, my boys done had babies by women of all ages. You done took care of this baby at 18 better than all of them. Like, stuff like that. She'll say it like she's going off, but it's really to only help you. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I bet it gave you a lot of motivation, or a lot of, like, that's what I'm looking for. A lot of validation. Like, oh, I am doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, because it was nobody really checking for anything. It was really, I was on my own. He was doing what he was doing in the streets, you know, being with wherever he was being, you know, and I'm there taking care of the baby and working, and you know, and she saw that. So I love her.
And then you ended up graduating high school and everything, of course, right? Or this was when you was living with grandma, you graduated?
Yeah, I had graduated before this, before the baby, because I was like 6 months pregnant with her when I graduated. But I graduated from Middleton, though. Gotcha. I didn't graduate from the J.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately. But I had went to high school, I went to K through 4th grade with the people that I graduated with.
So that worked out.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You know, one complete strangers.
Yeah, for sure.
So that worked out.
Yeah. And in this moment, you graduated, you out, you taking care of your baby, you working. What is the point where you're like, all right, something got to change?
I really can't say for sure, because I stayed.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I can't really say what could have or should have changed. Yeah. I just knew what I knew in the moment, and I knew that he loved his kids. So I knew he was going to put us first. Yeah. No matter what. Yeah. I thought. You know, that's what in my heart told me. So I stayed. And then he ended up moving in with his grandpa. And then, like always, I went right with him. Yeah. With my baby. So, yeah. And then that's when everything kind of like, the trauma started. Yeah. The trauma started. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Trauma like what?
Like, it was nothing like terrible as far as fighting or nothing like that. We had our fights, But we never put our hands on each other. It was never volatile like that. But he was in the streets, you know. So one day, me and my friend were at the house, and out of nowhere, we just hear fireworks. Like, it just sounded real small, and then like a big boom toward the end. I'm like, girl, did you hear that? Like, what was that? You know, I'm not paying no attention. Then I'm like, that was weird. So I go over to the door and I see his headlights like it had hit the wall. So I knew he was there. And then after the gunshots were done, I'm just like yelling at him, like, can you hear me? Like, I'm yelling his name. His name. And it was nothing. It was just completely quiet. It was completely quiet. Like, it was eerie quiet. Yeah. And then I walked downstairs and I just started screaming. Like, I lost my mind. I really did. But to see him laying on that ground, like, I lost it. And his granddad ended up going to him. So I'm just, like, freaking out. It was just a lot. It was a lot to even think back on it. I can talk about it now, and it took me a very long time to get here. Yeah. But he ended up getting shot, I think, and he got shot in the neck, the chest. But the neck was the one that scared me the most because you can, like, see it, like, pouring out. And his granddaddy was, like, putting pressure to it. And then I look up, and his granddaddy had walked off, so I walked over to him. And I was just like, I love you. You know, it wasn't nobody else around. It was just me and him. And I was just like, I love you. Stay with us, but if you can't, I understand. Pray to God. Yeah. And I told him, just pray. Just pray. And I started praying. Yeah. And I'm like crying. I'm holding his hand. And then he just stopped. Yeah. Like, because he stopped and then he started seizuring. And then that's when the police came. So it was like, it felt like 5 seconds, all of this. It was a lot. Yeah. It was a lot. Yeah.
And my bad. That's something too, that you had that foresight in the moment to be able to say, like, let's just pray. Like, what put that on you like that?
It was at that point I felt like I was powerless. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So it's like when I'm powerless, I turn to God. He has all the power, you know, and he knows what's right and he knows what's wrong. Yeah. So if it was meant to be, it was through him how we were gonna make that possible. Yeah. Yeah. And through him only.
Yeah. And of course you figure out that he had passed away.
I kind of figured it because of the shift that I felt within myself because I was so connected to him. It was like I kind of knew it, but I also didn't want to speak it into existence because I was the last person with him. Yeah. You know, like I literally watched him take his last breath. Yeah. So I don't think that I knew. I think it was a lot of denial in the sense of, okay, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. Like I've seen so many people pull through, you know, with worse outcomes, more hits, you know, it's like, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. And he wasn't. Yeah. Yeah. What is life like after that? Directly after? Yeah. Hell. Hell. It was side bitches calling his phone. Yeah. Literally on the way back from the hospital. Like, it was side bitches calling his phone. Like, I'm calling the side bitches. My friend know her name. So I'm calling her, trying to see. It was hell. Then it was like another girl that was a side bitch. Her friends was like torturing me online. Like, harassing me. Yeah. She even had the balls to call me while I'm putting together the obituary with his mom and his dad. Yeah. She had the balls to call me and say, you can't uninvite me to his funeral. I'm like, at the time his cousin was cool with her and she was like, she wants me there. You can't uninvite me. I said, girl, you come to that funeral.
I'm coming to this funeral now, I'm telling you.
Sus.
Yeah.
You come to that funeral. Yeah. And baby, it's gonna take the whole church to get me up off of you. Yeah. So I didn't argue with her. I just handed the phone to his mama and she was like, you can come to the wake, just don't come to the funeral. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So it was just like, girl, you have no rank. Yeah. Like, is your name in the obituary? I didn't think so. Right. Nah, for sure. You know, like, y'all don't know what I went through. Y'all don't know what that's like. And then after that, I even got blamed. Like, life is hard.
Like it was your fault, him getting shot?
Yeah, like I orchestrated it. I had plans to do it all. Yeah. I was messing with the guys that did it, and I'm like, no, like he would have killed me too. Like what? I'm not about to play with him on this type of level. And again, everybody that pointed a finger toward me in some way or sense was guilty. Yeah. They had their own guilt to like work through.
Yeah, they had their own part in it. Yeah. Oh, that's ugly business, man. Yeah. Like, that's actually fucked up.
I went through hell. But I don't talk about it. I've never spoken on it because it was for me to go through because I take my own ownership. Like I knew what he was doing. I knew what life I was walking toward. Yeah. And it takes a lot of accountability to be able to heal from that. Yeah. Like I put myself in that position.
Yeah. And during this moment, how are you during this moment? Are you going through this with all the like the side women, with all this other stuff going on? How are you keeping yourself together?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
And God himself.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. And I kind of turned into overdrive. I'm like, I'm the only one that she has left. Mm-hmm. So it's either I can get up and turn up and be the best mom I can be. Yeah. Or I can be exactly where they wrote me off to be. Yeah. You know, I could be the baby mama in the hood, turning up. It's like, I'm not that at all. Like I had a life before I met this man. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a destiny before I met this man. Mm-hmm. He chose his decisions. Mm-hmm. That's on him, you know, and it took me a very, very long time because that guilt kind of fucks with you. Like, what could I have done differently? Yeah. Could I have done this differently? Could I have said this? Could I have? And it's just like, no. Yeah. He chose his decision. That was his choice. God is a God of choice. He allows us to choose which way we want to go. Yeah. And he doesn't intervene with our choices.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish you would.
Yeah. Like,
keep me from doing some shit.
Hey, man, go this way. Hey, man, turn back.
Yeah.
Turn back. So, after that, it was just never-ending accusations of, you did this, you was with this person, and I'm like, what? For example, his mom, never told anybody this, his mom took me back to the scene. Across the street was a neighbor. Took me back to the scene and sat me on the couch. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm thinking we just finna share information on what happened. Did they see anything? No, it was a setup for me. Yeah. So she was like, the mom started talking. It's a mom and a daughter who's at the apartment, and it's me and his mom. Mm-hmm. So we sat down on the couch, and she's like talking or whatever, and she's like, yeah, I saw you, pointing to me, I saw you messing with the dude. And I'm like, me? Yeah. I was like, you saw me with them. Yeah, you was with them, and turns around and shows the mom a picture of him dead on the ground.
Oh, my God.
Honest to God. And I'm just like, bro, you're going to believe these people over me? She just showed you your son. Who takes a picture?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this was a time even, you know, going them years ago, people, you know, it's common now for people, but we didn't do that back then, like, you know, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. That wasn't a thing. Me? Yeah.
So again, they blame me on down the line. Anybody that point the finger to me has something to do with it. Yeah. Some kind of way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So she kind of played a part in him. Yeah. Yeah. That's ugly business.
Yeah. So it's just funny how I was there. I was the only one there with him, you know, tell him to pray. You know, none of that goes into account. Yeah. None of that went into account. Yeah. Not that I loved him. I had his kid. You know, I take care of his kid. None of that went into play.
Yeah, and it's like you don't gain anything from him passing. If anything, you need him here.
What am I going to gain from being a single black mother?
Yeah. You don't gain anything from that.
And that's what I kept trying to get these people to understand. Like, I was interviewed by the police multiple times.
Really?
Because everybody kept pointing to me.
Gotcha.
Everybody kept pointing it back to me. Everybody. And it's just like, okay, y'all can keep digging all you want. You're never going to find anything against me. Because why? Yeah. What am I going to get?
Is that what kind of triggered your decision to leave or move away from there? Just all the harassment?
Because I got tired of being somebody baby mama instead of me. Yeah. Like I'm a whole person outside of that. Yeah. And just the messiness with Jackson, I didn't want my daughter growing up around potential kids of the incident. You know, like I wanted her to be able to live her own life separate from his decisions and even my decisions. Yeah. You know, like I'm not perfect. Right. I don't think I'm picture perfect.
Yeah, I got you.
But at the same time, I try to prevent her from having to live through his decision.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, I'm out of here. Me and my baby, I'm about to go start school, educate myself. Mm-hmm. It's something better than this. Yeah. It got to be.
And you brought her with you?
Mm-hmm. Well, she stayed with her grandma for like almost a year. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, yeah, it's time to get my baby.
Yeah. Look at that. Mm-hmm. How was that, though?
It was okay, because when I moved to Murfreesboro, I had absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, I moved to Murfreesboro with a dream. Wow. I had an 04 Malibu at the time. It barely got me here. Yeah. I'm the queen of the struggle, and I take pride in it because I worked my ass off to get where I am. And it's like nobody can take that from me or claim any of my shit. Like, it was just me and solely me.
Yeah. So you get here, you go on to school, you balancing everything out. Like, I guess what are some of the defining moments while you down here that kind of made you be like, all right, it's time, if any?
It's time to
be the person that you are now. Because surely when you get down here, you're dealing with all this drama and toxic stuff, and you're a confrontational person. You with all of them.
You tried it.
Yeah. So, like, you with all of them.
At the time, I was with all the shit. Yeah. But at the time, I was hanging with friends that were, we was cool. We was going out a lot. Mm-hmm. So I can say I was trying to numb a lot of it. Yeah. A lot of it was very much trying to fit in where I don't fit in at all. And people like, why are you hanging with them? Why are you? And I'm like, they're my friends. And it's like, now I see what they meant, because they're still doing the same exact things that we were doing back then. So it's like, now I get why people would see more in me that I even saw in myself. It's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, why not? Like, why can't I do it? Because you just can't. And now I get that. Now I get that.
Yeah. And you reach your point. Because I guess the question, what I meant is like, were you the person that you are now? Because surely, you're not the same as back then. You're a grown woman now, handling your business, getting things together. What is the moment? I'll tell you my moment, right? Mm-hmm. I think the moment for me is probably when I had my son, or right before I had my son. Mm-hmm. Because my son, I always say this, my son was kind of like a product of like my own depression. I was making a lot of reckless decisions before I had my son. Mm-hmm. I honestly thought I would die soon, and I was like, all right, let me. You know how you get sometimes, you're in these modes and you're like, I'm going to have a kid. Fuck it. So he wasn't a mistake. I purposely, got, the mother of my child pregnant. And I was like, let me have a kid. So I had a kid. Or I got her pregnant or whatever. And when he got here, it kind of gave me the thing that I was doing just to be doing shit. It's kind of like, all right, I'm just out here. I was reckless. Listen, I was reckless in the moment. Like doing a lot of reckless shit. But it's, when he got here, it's like, oh, shit, it's kind of like my purpose. And I, like, put everything into him. And as I'm putting everything into him, I slowly began to, like, figure out who I am again. And that's who I am now. Like, that was a product of who I am now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got you.
So I guess what was really the moment that made you be like, all right, what is the moment that turns you into the Tiffany that you are now, would you say?
Probably like you, having my son, having my second kid. Probably it was going into my last semester, so going into senior, like my last semester of college. Yeah. And it was like, they were like, oh, you should just not do it, let's just put a pause on school. And I'm like, no, I'm finishing school. Like, sure. Like, I did not go through all of this to just get here and let this be my ending factor. Like, when I was pregnant with him, I was still working. Like, I'm working my ass off. I'm going to school. Like, it was just a lot. So I could say my second kid kind of turned it up a whole lot to push through toward the end.
Yeah. No, kids will grow you up, won't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess, like, it's kind of, well, she probably don't remember any of it, but your daughter was kind of like, in the trenches with you. Like, y'all kind of grew together.
For sure. And that's why she's my best friend. I have friends, but she's definitely my best friend. Yeah. We talk about everything.
Glad you said that. Because some people say that you shouldn't be friends with your children or with your kid, but my son is my best friend. I'll be honest.
And I think it's a fine line because of the things that I share with her is on a kid level.
Right.
I might share her like some work tea, like, girl, guess what? So-and-so said to me. And I was very professional. So I'm giving her life lessons through the things that I'm saying to her, because one day she will be a black woman in a white world, having to navigate corporate America, nobody ever taught me those type of things.
Yeah.
You know, like how to be passive aggressive to get them to back off of you without being aggressive,
Right.
you know, without giving them the mad black woman that they're poking to get. You know, so the things that I share with her is to put her up on game, and it's still tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do think she's my best friend, but at the same time, it's a lot of respect there.
Yeah.
We don't change the respect level.
Yeah. That's what I am too. And I will remember my son's daycare teacher. She came to me. Well, his pre-K teacher. She came to me and she said, "He's really good at expressing himself. Like, he can tell you what he's feeling in the moment. Like if he's sad, he'll say I'm sad. If he's happy, he'll say I'm happy." And I said, I think that's a result of me coming to him saying, like, "Son, I'm just not feeling it today. Like, I don't feel good. I don't feel this or whatever. You know, I'm not, you know, like you said, we keep it at a kid level, but this happened today and I don't feel good. I feel sad. Daddy feels sad." He'll say, "Oh, don't be sad. Whatever. You know, his little thing." And I'll say, "How do you feel?" And he'll go into how he feels or whatever. And, you know, a lot of the times, you know, if I'm saying I feel sad, He'll say, "I feel happy, Dad. I had a good day. I just," you know, so I think that's that. So I'm proud of that, you know.
Yeah, you're teaching him emotional intelligence.
Yeah, and we need that as black men because honestly, you know, if that was a thing amongst us and our people, things like, you know, the father of your child dying of gun violence wouldn't be a thing. You know what I mean? Or not necessarily wouldn't be a thing, but it would be a lot less of those type of situations.
It would trickle down. I see what you mean.
Yeah, because a lot of times us as men, we just make those decisions. We get upset and we decide to do something that was, you know, that leads to somebody hurting or somebody getting hurt or somebody dying.
Yeah, and a lot of us don't even realize that. I taught parenting classes in a correctional setting because obviously I grew up in correctional settings. So I was very comfortable there. And I love that I got to directly influence kids through their parents just by putting them up on game and speaking to them like they know how to be spoken to. You know, I translated it from the notebook to real life. Yeah. So when I would talk about it, I would tell them about emotional intelligence, telling them how to teach their kids what discipline really is. It's not to beat them. It's not to make them bend to our will. Discipline means to guide and to teach your kid. Yeah. You know, when the sheep is out there, they say spread a rod. That whole Bible verse is completely misinterpreted because you've never seen a man out there beating the sheep. Yeah. With the thing. He was guiding the sheep. He's just moving them along. Yeah. He never beat the sheep. So it's just that their stereotypical thing of them holding on to that thing to make us listen to them. And it's like, no, you can talk to me. Yeah. I don't even whoop my kids.
You don't care. Well, that was my question. That was my next question.
I don't. I just talk to them. I let them know your decision will lead to your outcomes. You go rob the bank, they not going to come pick me up. Who they going to come pick me up? You, they gonna come get you, not me. You know, so I let them. Hey, I can't control you. I tell them that all the time.
Yeah, I'm proud of our generation of parents. I see our generation is doing much better than the generations before us.
Because we're tired of being in pain.
Yeah,
like we refuse to pass on the pain for the next generation to deal with. Like I refuse that. The stuff that I'm going through, my kids will have a whole nother struggle. Yeah. Not to say it's going to be less or more, but it's going to be total different struggle from what I've had because I'm laying the foundation for them.
Yeah. So what's next for you? You're getting ready to graduate. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
What's next for you?
Long term, I can see myself opening a nonprofit for kids with autism. Short term, graduation. And then I plan on going and get my... being able to diagnose kids with autism. I do want to do that next. And long term, I can see myself being a CEO of a nonprofit, helping kids that look like me. Yeah. And maybe a little lighter. Maybe even a little lighter. You know, it don't really matter. Just helping kids catch up and give them the communication skills that they need.
Yeah. I think you're on the right track to doing it.
Thanks. I'm trying.
Yeah. I love asking people this. Last question. What would you go back and tell the 18-year-old you who was experiencing all of this hardship and trauma and all of this?
I would tell her, girl, you're going to be the GOAT.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Yeah. The pain will not make sense while you're in it. It only makes sense when you're looking back at it.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you again, Tiffany.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome.
When I first reached out, I didn't think you was gonna come, but I'm glad you came on.
That's not nice.
I'm glad you came on the show. You came through and sit down and talk with me. A lot of information. I would love to have you back, by the way. Yeah. But thank you. Listen, this is the ChoppedByT podcast where we get real, raw, authentic conversations. Until next time.